As soon as I went into the portal, I got the call right away from Coach Rice, and then we set up a Zoom immediately the next day with the whole entire coaching staff. They were still playing in the Crown Tournament. Everything was within that time period, because the transfer portal isn't really open that long. And so, teams are building, teams are stacking together to build that super team. And, Coach Rice is the winningest coach in Boise State history. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? I'm excited to be a Bronco, and I'm excited to play for him.
Well, the offseason is as crazy as ever, which means the life of David Moats is probably as crazy as ever. Welcome into Jay's Sports Bar. I'm Jay Tust. Boise State assistant men's basketball coach David Moats in studio to join us. How chaotic is the offseason right now? And maybe for you guys, given the recent news,
sure,
maybe the waters are starting to calm just a little bit.
Calming a little bit. It's still chaotic. It's still chaotic. Transfer portal ends next Tuesday.
Yep.
So it will be chaotic till next Tuesday, and you're always checking your phones. And if I check my phone in this deal, it's something happening. But it's been wild. It's been wild. It started midway through the year, and you just kind of got to navigate a bunch of different waters, a bunch of different landscapes that you never have had to.
Yeah.
And have conversations with kids and parents and agents that you never had to.
Yep.
And so it just it's different. It's been good for us. I think we've been on the forefront of a lot of stuff and been able to kind of hit problems before they arise and hit the portal really hard and have a nice mix and match of high school kids and portal kids, and I think it's been good.
Mm-hmm. So you guys add 3 kids recently, 2 of them out of the transfer portal. One is a highly touted freshman. We're going to talk about that, project the starting 5, at least in my eyes, plus a few other things. But first, I want to start out with you, Moats. You've been here for a little while now. How many years has it been at Boise State?
This is year 8 now.
Year going 8. Into year 8?
No,
or just completed
just finished year 8,
okay.
Going into year 9 with Coach Rice and the crew, and it's been wild. Yeah, it came as director of operations.
I was going to say, your first job, so director of ops, that's like hands-off of coaching, right, for the most part?
Hands-off, and especially before the rules opened up.
Right.
Yeah, it was buses, hotels, airplanes, getting schedules all set and doing that, and that's all I knew. And so kudos to Coach Rice and Coach Burns and Coach Sherry. Like, you got 3 guys who have been head coaches and are like studs. They've just allowed me to grow and really taught me, how to be a coach. And so, this past 8 years, it's been like every single day an internship to how to be a coach. And so that's been great.
I really do think that when you look at your timeline and your growth, that it really does mimic a little bit of Boise State basketball's timeline and growth. And the reason why, and I don't know if anybody at home or many at home really understand or realize this, but your addition to the coaching staff was big, not only because you're good at your job, but it also expanded the power of what the coaching staff can do by adding another human that can go out and do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what was the significance of that when, Boise State and Jeremiah Dickey in the athletic department said, no, we're gonna make Moats full-time coach and see where this thing goes?
Yeah, I think it allows those 3 to really coach, do the X's and O's, and allows some young guys, me and Lexus and Berto, to really get out and see with our own eyes the recruits and dive into them a little bit more and get on the floor and coach these guys. And player retention is giant, so being able to be on the floor a lot more with our own guys and just being able to just open it up so, those 3 coaches don't have to have 365 days of 24 hours and doing everything. And so now it spreads you a little bit, and we've been lucky to stay together for this long.
Yes.
And I think it just kind of all added up in a perfect kind of sequence with how the success is going, and there's a reason why we keep building this thing how we are.
Yeah, I think the retention, the continuity of the coaching staff is paramount.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned it, you, Bernie, Duryea, obviously Leon, and then it's really funny because you add Berto, who's the most recent ad, but it still feels like,
right.
I mean, he knows the area,
right.
He played at Boise State, it just feels like he's been part of the coaching staff, it would seem. Lex played here, now he's on. It's incredible continuity, and I know all you guys work hard. I think that somebody like you is still almost a little bit behind the scenes as the way the fans would see it. I don't know if it's a compliment to call somebody a workaholic. You probably you're on the borderline of maybe edging into that territory. But this year, I would say something's kind of pulling at you, maybe just reminding you that there's more to life.
No question.
Right?
No question.
So this year you became a dad.
Became a dad. It hit you. First day of college basketball season, officially, I became a dad. And so, missed about a week there, and it was chaotic. But ever since then, it's been coaching, and then when you go home, you're a dad, and you take that coaching hat off, and you dive into my new son, and that part's been wild and crazy in itself. It's like the transfer portal.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming, you don't know what to expect, and every day's been new. But how cool! It's been awesome and really cool, and just to see the growth and the little things in life, like that's been cool. So it's been little sleep, but it's been really, really fun to be able to do both, and
So we're he's about 6 months old now?
About 6 months, yeah.
So he's starting to have a little bit of a personality, I assume?
We're rolling over, we're blowing bubbles, we're laughing,
What's his name?
Cooper Allen Moats.
Okay, is there significance to the name? Just like it?
Yeah, just liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Allen is my grandpa's name, my dad's name, my middle name. So the middle name kind of
That's Christopher in my family.
Gotcha.
My dad's name's Christopher. My middle name's Christopher. My son's middle name is now Christopher.
See?
So that's there's got to be a little bit of meaning to it. I just wanted to go for the cool names, but we needed a little bit of meaning according to the wife.
That's right.
But no, that's awesome. Just to reiterate, you had him. I mean, he's gonna love basketball. I don't think he can't, because you're born on day one of the basketball season.
Right. You have to. You have to love it. When he grows up, he'll be like, "What? That was good planning.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?" But,
How's mom doing?
Awesome. No. Cooper went to daycare. Mom went back to work, so that was tough.
Okay.
That's always a tough, moment in life.
I agree,
but,
probably.
No, Cooper's doing well. Mom's doing well. Now that season is over, Dad. Hopefully, now that we have our roster,
You go on a walk at night or anything?
Dad gets to go home and
Okay.
get the pups, get the Cooper, and it's been good.
Okay.
It's been great.
All right, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So back into the fire, though, and as I said, we're kind of nearing the end of the portal window, at least being opening. And just to kind of clarify, Tuesday it means that nobody can no longer go into the portal,
Correct.
but you technically could still take out of the portal if guys are in. And I don't even mean Boise State, I mean just generally speaking. So if you're talking about guys like Pearson Carmichael and Andrew Meadow and Javen Buchanan and the rest of the gang.
Yep.
We just don't want to see any tweets from them. I'll say this: no tweets until next Wednesday.
That's our rule.
Right.
That's our rule. Me and you are making, and call it good.
No tweets from those guys until next Wednesday. What is the so fittingly called portal combat like, and what is Boise State's key to navigating it? Because I really do think if you look at these last few years, the Broncos have made a habit of getting more out of it than they have put into it.
Sure. And player retention is huge. There's Evan Maya is a big analytical guy in the college basketball world.
Yep.
Me and Evan have become close and texting, and he wrote an article last year that's a really, really good article. But if you bring back 50% of your minutes coming back into the next year, it translate to success. The last 4 national champions have been about 65% of retention. So you really want to retain, if you did a good job in the first place getting them here, you want to retain them because one, they fit your culture, they know your system, they know your coaching staff, they just have it. So that's key one in this whole portal combat, is making sure your guys stay. And so we started having those conversations in the season about, this is your role next year, this is how it's going to formulate. Then you kind of read the tea leaves of who's, really bought into their role next year, what's going to go on, just kind of all the moving parts. Then you kind of start, portal opens, and you just start calling and figuring out. We make a lot of calls, and we have a text thread that just kind of who's in the portal, how are we going to attack it, and so just constantly staying up to date, because every second someone's new coming in, leaving. And so we just kind of do a good job of navigating where everyone's at and our top 5 guys, and having solutions. If this guy were to maybe leave, what could we do here? Could we slide a body? So just all those different scenarios, I think we do a really good job of staying organized and on top of it, of having plan A, B, C, D, E, if any of that were to happen. And So we make a ton of calls, and sometimes they're calls of we want the kid. Sometimes they're calls of just trying to figure out where other schools are kind of leaning, what agents are kind of pushing. And so it's just doing our homework, and it's kind of, all hands on deck once we get there.
How much is it dealing with, college agents versus just dealing with the kids?
Well, that's changed this year tremendously. Agents have gotten really involved in the landscape, and some are good, but it's just a different era. It's just a weird feeling right now of maybe the kid really, really wants to come to Boise State, like connects with the coaching staff, knows our style of play, knows what we're all about. And at the end of the day, it's not his decision, which is kind of sad,
It is.
But
I do think it's important for fans to hear that, though, because I do think because ultimately the kids have to own the decision because they're the ones that are tweeting it out or having graphics made and things like that. But again, this is completely my opinion. But I think there have been guys that have even left Boise State to where I'm like, if you would ask me, I'd have been like, oh, they're 98% coming back. And then you find out that they're not. And I just think it's important to note that there are other influences here, and some of them outweigh what even the kid can want at times, which is nuts. But that's just
1000%.
That is the world we live in college basketball these days.
It is, and it's as you navigate it more, you really find out from the kid what he's all about. And so if you really are starting to talk to a kid and go through this whole process, and it always leads back to the agent, and it's always about that money talk, or it's always about different outside factors that we always can't control, then it's on to the next. Usually, in our case, it's on to the next. But if you can get a good balance of what the kid really wants, his fit, his thing, and then talk to an agent which is really in it for the kid. And there are some really good agents out there just looking for fit, helping the kid, there's 365 schools trying to call and navigate. It's a lot for a kid to just write down on lists and try to navigate. So sometimes those agents help eliminate some of those and really get to the, here's the 3 or 4 that really fit you, and then help them navigate kind of what their price range or whatever may be. So some instances it's really, really good. Some, when it's out of the kid's hands and they're just searching for maybe a quick payday or something, it's usually doesn't turn out to be a very good situation.
Yeah. I think we've seen that play out at times in college sports.
Yep.
So we can talk about how nuts it can be at times. Yesterday, we had the chance to visit with one of your biggest recent commits.
Crazy that
who is now signed.
Now. Yeah.
Dylan Andrews on campus for his official visit, and we actually get to talk to him now.
Crazy. Awesome.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which if you sign kids early and before their official visit, that's going to happen more. Who knows how often that'll happen, right? You're going to bring kids on official visits who haven't signed and trying to get them signed up, and by the end of the visit, maybe he'll commit, and then you can start the paperwork process. But no, in the portal era, you have about 24 to 48 hours once they hit the portal to really get you involved in the game.
Okay.
After then, they're usually cutting their list, they're setting their visits, so it is speed dating. We'll have one coach member call the kid, a couple coach members call kids who have coached the kid. Some in their league, who was he, how'd you guys scout against him? Is he really that good? Were you guys scared of him? All of these different factors, and then if it checks out yes, then we really talk about, okay, now let's go to the next step. But yeah, he checked all the boxes, and we got him committed pretty dang quick in the process.
That's what it sounds like. I mean, Dylan was telling us yesterday. So Dylan Andrews, starting point guard, last 2 years at UCLA. I think he racked up 61 starts over the last 2 years. In that span, averaged almost 10 points, almost 4 assists per game. His numbers dipped a little bit this last year, but you go back a year prior, and he's averaging almost 13 points per game. And I think it's also important to understand, like, UCLA had a very new roster last year, and so I think there was some time figuring that out. I think it seems like he's going to be an awesome fit here. He was telling us it almost seemed like nobody else was really even in the mix. Like, he almost made it seem like it was easy. You guys just got on a Zoom call, sold the program and your personalities, and he just says, hey, this connects, this hits home. And then he almost jumped in the boat immediately. I think, you know, he was just kind of giving us the timeline, and it sounds like you guys were busy at the Crown, obviously trying to win that thing.
Right.
But, you know, you can't wait. As you said, you have 48 hours basically from the time a guy goes into the portal to really start making that magic happen. And so yesterday, sure, it becomes official. It kind of got out maybe a week or two ago by On 3.
Right.
But how quickly did that truly play out?
Yeah, we've known of Dylan since forever, since he was a LA kid. And that's why I think we do a really good job of recruiting high school kids across the board, you know, 5-star to 1-star, because you never know as they progress. So we want to, you know, get those relationships solid. So we've known it, Dylan and Compton Magic, his AAU team, and all those people surrounding him for a long, long time.
So when is like that first initial thought, like, okay, let's make sure that he's on the board somewhere or whatever, however you keep track of people, because this is a guy that had offers from like anywhere and everywhere coming out of high school. A 4-star guy, ends up going to UCLA, but could have picked just about anywhere.
Right, and awesome player coming out of high school, could have picked anywhere, but we still watch and evaluate for this day to happen. And so we on our list of, you know, we needed a point guard coming for this next year. So on our list, you know, you have about 10 to 15 where across the nation that are like, okay, if this guy were to go in, this is our connection, this guy. So we're just always watching. We're watching a lot of college games. It's a constant eval of where they're at, you know, who they're bringing in. And so once he went in, that was an immediate yes. We know his talent. We know the people around him. Bernie, call. Leon, call. Here we go, and let's call the people surrounding. But he knew of us and our program. We've done a really good job in LA these past, you know, 3-4 years. He knew of Buzo, knew of Sada, knew Andrew Meadow, and we just have recruited the LA area pretty dang well these last 3 or 4 years.
I think the thing that's kind of cool about that, and this kind of hit me yesterday when we were talking with him, and you mentioned like even when guys are coming out of high school, if they pick somewhere else, like there's still this constant monitoring or evaluation process. But I do think a strength of the Boise State coaching staff is the relationships that you guys not only build but constantly maintain. And right there, you actually named 2 guys that have came to the program and left the program, but still somehow vouched for the program. So Buzo was here and transferred to USC. Sada was here. He's been to a couple places since then. Dylan specifically brought up Sada, that they had conversations. I just think that's pretty interesting because whenever somebody enters the transfer portal, I just assume that you might assume, okay, relationships fractured, we're writing these people off, get out of my life, whatever it is. Maybe that's not the case?
No, and like Buzo, I talk to probably once a month throughout the year, just checking in how, not re-recruiting him, doing, but
great kid,
how
man.
How you
just
doing?
an awesome human.
Awesome.
I really,
awesome.
He's one of my favorites since, you know, at Boise State. Like when you really get to know him, great dude.
And he deserves a shot at the NBA because he's 6'7", long, shoots it all. And so just, I genuinely, like, we care about these guys, and we know the reasons they left, and some are good, some are bad, some they're just circumstances.
Some are outside influences, right?
Right. And so, but the kid is awesome, and so just checking in with them and watching their games, and it's been there's no anymore if you leave and you kill the kid and they go off. They're just kids. They're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids trying to better their life. Like, you can't fault a kid for doing that. And sometimes it's a good decision for him. Sometimes it's not. And they'll learn in a year that, man, that was a tough one, or that was a great one. And so, no, we use those guys. We know those guys, and we know they'll tell the truth, especially with players. We call Jace Whiting. We talk to a bunch. Buzo, we talk to a bunch. Hey, what do you know about this kid? Who is he as a person? Because kids will tell the truth about their other teammates or guys they play. And so that's a way for us to do our homework with other kids. And it's just constant, you know, going back and forth with them.
So that being said, talking with those guys, and now you can see like Dylan's character and just kind of getting in to chat with him for a little bit, both on and off camera yesterday.
Yeah.
He definitely seems to fit what Boise State targets. So how does he fit on the court?
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very fast, pushes in transition, really gets downhill. We talk a lot about getting paint touches, and he can just touch the paint whenever he wants, you know, break the defensive guy down, draws two. He's a really good passer. 2 years ago, he scored 60 points or 61 points in 2 games in the Pac-12 tournament.
Right.
Like, the dude is a certified scorer and has learned how to be a point guard throughout his 3 years at UCLA. And so he's going to just provide instant ball-in-hand offense that kind of like Al was able to do. But he can really score his ball, and then his on-ball defense is what we really, really liked about him, and his impact that maybe a quicker guard that we faced, now we can put him on there, and he's up for the challenge, and he's like, some of our clips that we showed him and that we really watched, he was just taking guys' balls, guys who we play against, and guys who we
intent.
But he just is a difference maker on that end.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. The one cool part, or many cool parts, but one of the parts that stood out to me is I'm kind of coming back to the station and saying, what sound bites am I going to use? I think when you ask these kids like about their hopes and dreams, and it's like this offensive, you got the ball, clock's winding down, you're down 1, and they're hitting a fadeaway, jump shot, yelling Kobe or whatever.
Sure.
Nope. He broke down a scenario yesterday where he was like, I can't wait till we're in a tight game at the end of the game. We need a defensive stop, and Coach Burns is yelling at us and giving us the game plan, and we got to go out and get that stop.
I can't wait till we're actually on the court in a big game, and we're talking about what's the match, what's the personnel here, what are we going to do, what's the matchups. I can't wait for it.
I think that kind of shows you the player that you're getting. This dude loves to play defense too.
Loves. You should have seen Coach Burns in our film session with him when he's taking dude's ball. Like, we just watched all of his offensive, and they were very, very impressed. Like, he's an NBA talent with the ball in his hands offensively. But we got to his defensive clips. Coach Burns is up screaming at the screen, like excited, like. And he was right there with him. Like, he is a natural leader. Got with all of our guys, wanted their phone numbers, wanted to talk to them, and wanted to start the process of building this team and re-recruiting our guys back to, like, no, you got a point guard, let's go. And he's been just a gem from day one. And so as soon as we talked to him on the phone, we knew that he was the right guy for the job, and expressed that, pretty dang quick in the process.
I think he capped his interview yesterday saying something along the lines of that, he goes, defense wins games. Win enough games, you win championships. The defensive component is important, I think, as you do kind of look to tweak your roster for next season. And, this last year, that was an area where I think we could all agree that you fell off just a little bit.
Back, sure.
Offense always gets the attention because there's easy stats to point to and everything like that. But I think if you really want to break down why you guys were so close but on the wrong side of it, Ken Palm has his defensive metrics. I know that you guys know them well, but when you guys make the NCAA tournament, at least the 3 out of the last 4 years, when you were there, you ranked 20th, 28th, and 29th in the country in Ken Palm's adjusted defense. This year, you ranked 70th.
Yep.
Does Dylan Andrews help get you back closer to that top 30?
1,000%. And just continuity in the wings, in a Pearson Carmichael, in a Andrew Meadow, in a Javen Buchanan, of knowing our defensive system, now playing a year in it and being able to, take over that whole deal. But he really does. And that's our goal, is top 30. If you're top 30, you're going to be an NCAA team. And we knew we were outside the top 30 all year. 3 buzzer beaters. We really like to get those 3 stops at the end of the day. All comes back to your defense. We're going to score enough points, and we're going to, we have playmakers everywhere. It will come down to that next year, of finding the right guys who just blend and get enough minutes and get enough trust in each other. Our system is based off of trust, and we do a lot of switching, a lot of communicating and going through all that. And so having a leader like that, coming from Mick Cronin and UCLA, which they are known for their defensive, toughness and grit, and he survived. He was a starting point guard for them because he was able to defend that position. So bringing him in, there won't be any issues there.
Moving down the list, it's so funny because say your highest rated recruit out of the transfer portal ever, and then now there's another guy jockeying for that title, Drew Fielder, a name that, hey, if you've watched high school basketball, you might know him. He played at Rocky Mountain up until his sophomore year, transferred down to go to the Southern California Academy, I believe,
right. Yep.
And commits to Providence immediately, and then ends up flipping with a coaching change to go to Georgetown.
Right.
So you're getting a kid that has 2 years of experience playing at Georgetown. one of arguably the basketball blue bloods. I know they've struggled a little bit, these last decade or so. But you get a kid now that's going to come here with multiple years of eligibility, started almost every game for Georgetown this last year. How did you guys land Drew Fielder?
Just a Boise kid coming home.
Yeah.
He really genuinely wanted to come home and play in the city and play for the Broncos. He grew up watching the Broncos. So for him to come back home, and he's a dog now. He is competitive. He is tough. There's a reason he started at Georgetown at the center position. He creates offensive nightmares for teams. He's 6'11". He can really, really shoot it. He can put it on the deck. He's athletic. So when we got him, Dylan was the first one to call and say, "Oh, heck yeah!" like that. Like, we got a pick and pop threat. We got someone to the rim. But I think just knowing who we are, and we recruited him out of high school, and obviously Berto coached him. And he's been a part of this family forever, and so knowing who he's coming home to and who he's going to be coached by, and I think was a big factor in his decision. And he hasn't even came close to his ceiling. He is just going to, once he gets comfortable, he is going to be a monster here for the Broncos.
Again, so played the last 2 years at Georgetown, started almost every game this year, averaged 7.1 points, 5.4 rebounds. There was a moment there where he was verbally committed to USC, and then that was kind of the grand surprise, at least on social media, for maybe people not behind the scenes.
Yeah, right.
But, all of a sudden Drew Fielder's coming to Boise State, and it was like, whoa, what happened?
Yep.
What happened? I know that he is, you bring up Roberto Bergerson. He coached Drew in AAU. How paramount was that connection with getting Drew back here?
Huge, and it's been huge out of high school because they just similar. Berto hasn't called and stayed in touch with him just because he wanted him to ever come back to Boise State. He called and checked in with him just to see how he's doing as a person, make sure he's okay, see if his family needs anything. Like, Berto's just a caring dude.
Yeah.
And so he just cared for the kid and cared for, and when he went to USC, I think we're the first, heck yeah. Like, go be great, go do your thing. And just how it happened, maybe his gut feeling just wasn't right. When you commit, you gotta want to be excited and know that was the right move. And sometimes you take a new job or do something where you're like, that just doesn't feel quite right. And I think that happened there. And he just called us and said, "Hey, I can't sleep. I want to be a Bronco." And so we're like, well, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And things worked out.
Sent him a nice comfy pillow to make sure he could sleep that night.
Called it good. Yeah, called it good. Simple as that.
So 2 massive additions. We're talking, again, some of the highest rated players you've ever brought in Drew Fielder and Dylan Andrews. And these are the guys that are going to get the attention, or at least most of the attention, because they've had careers at the college level.
Right.
They've been highly successful at the college level. And people just kind of, these days, pay attention to whatever's going on in the transfer portal. Yesterday, there was another kid, Spencer Aarons, big dude out of Canada that can absolutely rip the net. He had a lot of competitive offers. Illinois, Washington, Gonzaga were all in on him, a number of other schools. For, again, a kid from Canada, how and when did you guys identify him, and how did that come to fruition?
Yeah, we've watched him forever, and he was a sophomore in high school. Me and Berto were talking about him when he was a sophomore. He went on a visit to Michigan because we really liked him and he went on a visit to Michigan. And me and Berto were sitting in the offices, and we had talked about it that day way back when, and we're like, whoa, maybe he's out of our price range now as a sophomore. But knowing him and his family, we continued to watch him throughout the next 2 years, and he just fits our culture so well. He's a skilled big who Coach Rice has have great success with in the past. He wants to be coached. He wants to develop. He doesn't think he's made it. And getting him in our system and just our work that we're going to put with him every single day. And we recruited him for 2.5 years into this process. And him and his family knew we were involved. We weren't coming in at the end just because all of a sudden he put up a 30-point game against us.
Right.
Like, we knew his journey as a player and, known his struggles, known his success, and been with him no matter what. And so I think the old age of, recruiting a kid and really knowing it for the relationship really helped us with Spencer. And he knows who we are, knows our program in and out. And so he is going to be really, really good for us. Offensively, he is skilled. He can put it on the floor. He can take smaller guys to the basket. He's geared up, ready to go. I think he's going to be here in May and want to be in Boise forever, and he's the right type of guy.
Does he make an impact next year?
Right away.
Yeah.
Right away. I think with his skill set and his shooting ability, it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor.
Yeah.
Those two things translate pretty dang quickly. Just the speed and the physicality of college basketball is hard for a freshman to come in and play. So all summer we'll get him acclimated, see where he's at, but his offensive skill set is top tier.
Maybe I should have bounced this off you before I ask you, but this is so my projected starting five. Not that my projections mean anything, but if you look at that, so you have Dylan Andrews at the point, you have Pearson Carmichael at the 2, Andrew Meadow at the 3, Javen Buchanan at the 4, Drew Fielder at the 5. That means you're bringing off the bench Dominic Parolin, who, man, we're going to have to get into him another day because he's another guy with a wealth of experience at the D1 level. He's finally healthy. He's ready to contribute. R.J. Keene, Julian Bowie, Ethan Lathan, another name that Bronco Nation's going to have to get to know next year. And then you again throw Spencer Aarons into the mix. How excited are you about what you can do with what seems like a pretty darn solid 10 deep, most of those 10 having experience?
Right, and you have different pieces all that do stuff really good in different pieces there. So really exciting group. It'll be interesting when they all come together and mesh, and you kind of starting 5, who knows, backup 5. Once they all get, and it's just going to be competitive. Once you get 10, 11, 12 guys and they can all compete, they all, still sharpen steel, iron sharpens iron. They're just going to create this deal where every single day you're going to have to come and play really, really good to get minutes. And so everyone's going to get better, and it's going to be a competitive atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, is that a lineup that can compete for a Mountain West title?
You think so. You're bringing back really, really good players, and on paper, you feel really, really good about it. In this day and age, you never know. Once you get them all together in a gym, you really find out kind of, how good you're going to be. But yeah, we feel really, really good about this next year, and our goal is to win the Mountain West and to do it. And feels like with this roster, we can be there.
Dylan Andrews made that clear yesterday. He's coming to Boise State to win a Mountain West regular season title, a Mountain West tournament title, and get this thing back to the big dance once again. He made that very clear yesterday.
The standard is the standard, and our standard has risen to that, and we wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah,
I'll get you out of here on this one, Moats. So, as the great Jeremiah Dickey would ask, what's next? You kind of mentioned that a guy like Spencer Aarons might be here in May. What is next? How does this thing move forward? Guys get a little bit of a break here, but when do you turn the page and start really kind of starting to think about that next season and how you guys are going to approach the offseason? Yeah, we have a couple more spots that we've identified a few targets that we're really trying to get finalized and get this roster set. Then once we get that, the rest of April and May is getting the guys away. Some of the guys were banged up a little bit. It's getting them off their feet, getting some of they've had some surgeries, they've had some stuff happen. Get them off their feet and get them back. Basketball season is a long season. Think about this. We started official practice in September, and we had an official practice in April. Yeah. We were doing official practice for 9 months straight through. And so these guys need some time off, 3 weeks, a month, get away from basketball, get their minds cleared, and then we'll come back together. We get about 7 to 8 weeks with them in the summer that we can do individual skill work. Our summers are built for skill work and just getting their shooting, stand them up, getting all their individual skill work up. And so that'll be a plan for each individual guy this summer, and that'll be the next deal. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We all enjoy a little bit of a breather, but already excited for next season because clearly the makeup is there to have something special and run it back. And I think that the one thing that stands out to me is somehow you guys continue to never have. You've never had to hit the reset button completely in an era where it seems like everybody has to hit the reset button. I mean, I think Baylor, who, I mean, how many years ago they played for the national title?
Crazy.
And they don't. I don't know if they have a single player. I mean, they probably do, but
they lost their entire roster.
They lost their entire roster this last year, whether it be graduation portal for whatever reason. That's insane to me. And yeah, you guys look at this and you still maintain a little bit of a nucleus and you're able to complement it. And even if you project this thing down the road, it seems like that's the kind of a cyclical thing that you should be able to maintain and always win and always be competitive. And yeah, it's been fun, Moats. Appreciate you coming in.
Heck yeah.
I know you got to get back to work. The good news is your phone didn't buzz in the last 40 some odd minutes.
So we are good.
So we're at least good for the last 40 minutes.
That's right.
But appreciate it. Tell everybody over there we said hi. Thanks for joining us.
No, appreciate you guys.
All right, everybody. This is Jay's Sports Bar, serving the Idaho sports community.